Today's session, if you look at the stock of REC, it has been under pressure. The stock's trading with cuts of 1%, but that's about today. Let's discuss the growth outlook for the company going forward. Joining us on the show is Director for Finance, Mr. Ajit Agarwal. Mr. Agarwal, good morning to you. Appreciate you joining us today on Bloomberg Quint. Before I get into the nitty-gritties of your business, just wanted to get an outlook. The bond yields have been hardening. They've been trading above that mark of 7%, which does not augur well for NBFCs because your cost of funds would go up. What are your initial comments on that?
Good morning, madam. As regards the company's cost of funds are concerned, as you would appreciate, the cost of fund is the market dynamic situations, and REC has been raising the funds in the past until today as the most competitive pricing. And considering the fact that the rates have started firming up, that leaves a good scope for us for on the lending rate adjustments. As of today, we have been working at a spread of 3.3, and we hope to continue to have the same spread going forward. And still our all efforts are being there to see the cost of funds are reduced to the minimum possible extent. In this direction, the REC has also started repricing some of these foreign currency loans which we have raised in the past. And as you would be, just to inform you, that the 650 million loans have since been repriced by us, and there could be a saving of 60 to 70 bips going forward for next 3 years. So all efforts at the REC are being made to see the cost of borrowing is kept to the minimum level. And since considering there is slightly firming of the rates, then we would definitely look our lending rates accordingly.
All right, Mr. Agarwal. So let me come down to your business specifically. Can you give us an idea about the progress that the company has made when it comes to the health of stressed utilities?
No, if you look at the health of the utilities due to the introduction of Uday scheme, we have seen a very positive response from all these utilities going forward. And since all the loans outstanding as on 30th September 2015 have been taken over by the state governments, and they have been given a clean slate to start on. And as a result of which, a tentative estimate is that around 15,000 crores of interest across the DISCOMs have been saved. And considering the fact some of the states have showing the turnaround results, especially if you look at Haryana, West Bengal, and there have been a considerable turnaround likely to be in the state of Rajasthan. So going forward, though it is just the beginning of the things, and the Uday has already the financial restructuring package seems to be over. Now the second part which we feel of operational requirement, where a lot of capex required to be spent, and the AT&C losses are to be reduced, and the ACS and ARR gap is also to be brought to the minimum levels. And considering the fact that change has been this Uday scheme has been that there has been a tripartite agreement with the state government this first time, the DISCOMs and the central government. So we hope this is a positive step in the direction, and going forward the DISCOMs financial health is likely to improve.
So what's the outlook in the second half of this fiscal with regard to disbursements as well as sanctions?
Madam, if you look the first half, we have sanctioned around 56,000 crores, and we have been sanctioning around 70 to 80,000 crores per annum. But today, as I speak today with you, already we have crossed that limit of 85,000 crores of sanctions this year, and still 3 months are remaining. So regarding the sanctions are concerned, we should be crossing the previous targets which we have fixed up internally, and we would be having the maximum sanction this year as compared to the previous years. As regards the disbursements are concerned, we have an internal target of 60,000 crores to be disbursed this year. As last year we disbursed 58,000 crores. As of today also, a disbursement target has touched 36,000 crores plus. So all the things are in pipeline, and we are quite optimistic that we should be achieving the target as we have fixed internally of 60,000 crores of disbursement this year.
Mr. Agarwal, in the second quarter, what we've also noticed that sequentially your gross NPA percentage has come off, currently standing at around 2.5%. What I'd really like to know is maybe a kind of a target or a number that you have in mind by the end of March 2018 in terms of this particular number, considering you have a relatively high exposure to the private sector.
No, as far as the exposure to the private sector is concerned, let me clarify that the REC has just In terms of generation projects, 13% of our total exposure to the private sector. We have a loan book outstanding as of 30th September is 2,15,000 crores. So roughly as of today, we have 27,000 crores of exposure in terms of the generation power projects, mainly the thermal power projects. Our NPA ratios has been one of the lowest in the industry of 2.54 with a net as 1.66. As you rightly mentioned, there has been certain decline in terms of the NPS ratios. This is mainly on account of the fact that our loan book has shown a steady increase now. If you recall the last year, this lot of repayments under the UDAY have been received by us, which totaling to around 43,000 crores. So as a result of which our loan book could not show the growth as was expected to be, though we had a growth of 20%. So in terms of the ratio analysis, if you do it, since my loan book is growing and we are the gross NPAs are at a static level, so in terms of ratio percentage, it will be showing a little bit of decline. All efforts are being made by the company to say that we have already set up a separate group which is called Stress Asset Management Group. We are actively participating in all the GLF meetings. All kind of restructuring as is being permitted by the Reserve Bank of India in terms of 5x25, the S4A or SDR. Wherever the GLF decides, we all support that projects, and depending on the merit of each of the projects, all efforts are being made to see that the NPA levels are kept at the level at which we are today.
Okay, so you seem to be comfortable with the numbers which have been so far reported, but just some commentary from your side. There were some reports suggesting yesterday that the government is mulling to keep the PSU deposits with companies like REC and PFC. Any initial thoughts on that, or have you heard anything on the similar lines from any government officials?
No, madam, not yet. We have not privy to any such discussions. Yes, there was a discussion which we participated, and this is we were also part of the deliberations which have initially took it. A concept paper in this regard has been put up by to the DP to have a further discussion on the subject, and we would be keen to, if that responsibility is given to us.
Mr. Agarwal, certain reports also suggest that there could be potential upgradations in the third quarter, for that matter. Could you give us, any outlook on this particular aspect and the potential here?
Could you repeat? I could not listen. That there is some noise coming in.
Yes, Mr. Agarwal, I was talking about a potential upgradation of certain assets in the third quarter. This is according to some reports that we've been reading. Can you tell us a little more about potential upgradations that you see in this quarter and perhaps the fourth quarter as well?
Upgradation with regard to NPS?
Yes.
Pardon?
Yes, sir. Upgradations with regards to NPAs, yes.
No, all efforts are being made to see some of the assets have been restructured, and as you know, there's RBI guidelines. So if they revised, the restructured assets start performing up to 1 year on the restructured terms, is likely to be upgraded. So there are one or two such projects which are likely to be upgraded going forward. One of such projects is the Prakash Industries, which is supposed to be upgraded by the March this year, where the total exposure is 250 crores. It was restructured last year, and this particular project has been performing as per the restructured terms. So all efforts are being made. Some of the projects have been restructured, and going forward, depending on the RBI guidelines, if they continue to perform according to the restructured terms by 1 more year, so they shall be brought back to the standard assets quality. So all efforts are being made, and going forward in a year and a half, 1 or 2 projects like this shall be definitely upgraded in our books.
Mr. Agarwal, before we let you go, just wanted to know, is there any update? Because I guess the company was looking at some new businesses in the overseas market. You guys were discussing about some hydro project in Nepal and Bhutan, and also you were looking at some consultancy business in Middle East and Africa. Is there any update on that?
Yeah, madam, we have been very actively pursuing these overseas operations for us, and recently we have participated in a bid which was floated by the SVGNL in one of their projects in Nepal, and we are one of the successful bidders, and we are the last type of negotiations are going with reference to the other terms and conditionalities, and we are quite optimistic that we shall be getting that project, and we should be doing the sole funding.
You said it was a successful bid. Could you tell us what was the size of that bid?
No, madam, the company is in discussion with different lenders, and we have also shown our interest to fund that project. So hopefully by the close of this month, we should be hearing some news from the SVGNL. And this is another project which is Bhutan, which has also shown interest. We have given our willingness to fund that project also. But there are certain issues with reference to concessional agreements yet to be signed in the state of Bhutan. So I think both these projects we are very aggressive looking in terms of financing. Regarding the other Middle East and African countries, yes, we have been approached by different agencies to provide them a consultancy framework. As you know, REC has been an almost 49 years old company, and we have acquired a lot of good experience in terms of rural electrifications and other things. And we personally feel that we should be providing a good value addition to these countries, and we have shown our willingness to the MEA and Exim Bank and other agencies which are in touch with us. And first such meetings likely we have been to the places like Morocco and other places. And going forward in next 2-3 months, we are likely to provide some consultancy in one of these countries.
Okay, Mr. Agarwal, thanks for joining us and giving us an outlook on your company as well as perhaps to a certain extent the sector as well. We'll be watching out for more developments with respect to REC.